Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Boy, you missed a lot of just pre-show podcast business.
It's pre-show stuff.
It was
just stuff. Just
it was
been
it was
doing
a
it
lot.
for almost an hour.
Yeah.
You really missed nothing. But this we're going into, and I think we sort of mentioned it. We're going into the 10th anniversary of the Regular Joe's podcast season. We've decided, and it's not because we don't know what to do. We have so many great ideas. We're just going to do it for a while.
We're just going to keep it rolling.
Yeah, this is not
keep
one
celebrating.
of them. Yes, but as Barry is the keeper of remembering things, May 18th was our first show released on the podcast airwaves. Right,
It was the beginning of our podcasting empire.
Exactly.
That's right. And
it's still building.
Well, you know, if you burn out too fast and you fade away, we're trying to, you know, keep the momentum going.
As a 10th anniversary present to us, please leave us a review and rate us. That helps us. We'd love
go
to
to
all
Apple
quit our
Podcasts
jobs
and leave a review and give us a 5-star rating. I will accept nothing less than a 5-star rating. So
I'll take whatever you got as long as you do it. 5 stars is better though. So anyway, so next couple of weeks we'll be doing apparently 7-hour shows.
Yeah.
No, the next couple of weeks we'll be doing some 10th anniversary shows. Hopefully starting next week. So you'll more of that later. But I think we've given this out before. But you can call us and leave us a message, and we'll, if it's good or interesting or funny, we'll play it on the
Play it at the end of the next episode.
even if it's not good, we'll play it on the show.
Yeah.
Come on.
And the number to call is 413-422-0004.
And if you
That
didn't
is.
get that, we're going to say that again at the end. So
Yeah, I'll say it
and
again
if
right
you
now.
know any famous people and you can get them to call, Dave will send you something.
Yeah, I will. I have things.
that's right.
I'll send you stuff. 413-422-0004. So if you get someone to call us, or you know how to reach us on Instagram and what's that other thing? Facebook.
Yeah, there's the Facebook, there's the Twitter,
The Facebook.
the Instagram.
That other thing. What's that other thing? Tumblr? No. I can't think anymore.
Yeah, MySpace.
MySpace. That's the one I couldn't remember.
I think
was never on
you can
MySpace.
even find us on Grindr, I think.
Grindr. Yeah, we're on Grindr. There's all three of us.
Yep.
It's all three or nothing. Don't call if you want. Or call if you want that. I'd like to hear what you got to say. I'm not...
Okay.
If you make the right pitch, I don't know. You never know.
One
Okay,
vote for
10th
starting over.
anniversary. Wow, it's been a long time since I...
Barry loves it.
Dave, you got a topic to start off with?
Holy
I do.
shit.
Well,
Wow,
here's
it's
what
been
we're talking
been a long
about
time
this
since I
week.
did that.
We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. There will be spoilers. It's, as you listen to this, it's out a week. I know that's not a long time, but you know how these things go. Made $114 million in the U.S. box office. If you're into those movies and you haven't seen it by now,
Yeah,
you
and there's a
should.
good chance that if you're into it, you haven't seen it, because that's not a lot of money by Marvel standards.
No. But wait, listen to the show. There'll be spoilers, but stay tuned.
We'll still be here once you listen.
Yes.
Once you watch.
So a lot going on. 10th anniversary. Don't forget that. Okay. Let's go some random. I'm starting because I have a show-based random.
Nice.
So I'm putting something in the text. And apparently, I thought we referenced this a couple of shows ago. Almost 5 years ago today, we did a show, and this was an Instagram post. The post reads, "These people are all on the list. Find out why and if they deserve to be on this week's episode." So apparently, we all know I have a list, and apparently we talked about these people and why they're on the list. I'll read them right now. Tim Burton, Maggie Gyllenhaal. I agree now she shouldn't be on the list. Brett Ratner, Jesse Eisenberg, Paul Feig, Woody Harrelson, Scott M. Gimple, Luc Besson, Ryan Johnson, Kathy Kennedy. The only one I take back is Maggie Gyllenhaal, but 5 years ago, those people were all on the list. And I bring that up because if you look at the next, that's from 5 years ago, if you look at the next photograph.
Can I just say, it's a rare occurrence when somebody makes it off the list. I think that should be
I was
celebrated.
just going to say, yeah, that's pretty epic.
So, Todd, look at the photo I just sent. Read under notifications. What does that say?
Hold on. I was just looking.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Okay. Notifications. Brett Ratner liked your photo.
Verified Brett Ratner with a blue check. So
it's
Brett
got a blue
Ratner,
check mark. Holy shit! Yeah.
5 years later, liked it.
But he never listened to the show.
I'm
to know
sorry,
that it
Brett.
wasn't a
You've
good
not
list.
listened to the show because, as you see in the description, these people are on the list. Find out why. You're on the list because you made the worst X-Men movie that was disgraced, and allegedly you've abused women.
Great.
That's why you're on the list. I'm sorry, Brett Ratner.
If I were Brett Ratner, just looking at this list, I would probably go, well, I don't know why Tim Burton and Maggie Gyllenhaal are on it, but the rest of these people suck.
No, Brett Ratner, like, oh, Woody Harrelson, like, these are, in douchebag circles,
Ryan
people
Johnson.
think this is a good list.
I made
So
it on
I'm
the
sorry,
list with
Brett.
Ryan Johnson.
Thank you for liking our post.
That is
but
hilarious.
5 years later,
That is really funny.
He finally came out of seclusion from all those charges and said, you want to know, I'm going to charge back into Hollywood. And the first thing he did was like our post that is a show about why you're such a douchebag.
He's like, somebody put me on a list. I'm going to like it.
No, it's he hired a social media company that searched for every reference to him and liked every single reference to him.
That too, but
Either way,
do your research, people.
do your research, douchebag. Anyway,
That's funny.
Barry, what do you got?
I'm going to go just because it's been months, maybe years, since I had to go actually actively search for something to put on my list of random, because usually there's just stuff always coming at you through social media. I couldn't find anything, but I did find this. So obviously, as we record right now, there is a writer's strike going on in Hollywood. But there was a list of the top shows that were either impacted by the writer's strike or not impacted by the writer's strike. So I thought I would just read off a few. Andor, Season 2, not impacted by the writer's strike, as all the scripts were turned in before the strike started.
That's kind of a scam.
Well,
there's always rewrites on the set. But
I guess, but they're
I don't side with either one. I'm not in the union. I don't care.
Yeah, they're filming, and they claim that they've got all the scripts they need. Cobra Kai, Season 6, I guess, whatever it is, 5, 6, impacted. They've shut down production. Daredevil, shut down production.
Oh, I have an off-the-air story that relates to Daredevil. Remind me.
House of the Dragon Season 2, similar to Andor. And I wonder if this is because they're European productions. All scripts turned in already.
Also, it's been a long time since they've aired. So, remember, Andor was in the can a long time. So,
No. But they're filming right now. Most times when you're filming, you're rewriting on this.
You shut down because usually you've got your writers and your
those guys are
showrunners and all those people on
probably
set.
Out of the way. I won't get into the whatever.
What I find
House
interesting,
of Dragons not in the norm.
But now that I'm stepping back and looking at this list that I've put together, the ones that are all saying that they're in production and it's not affecting them are all European productions. So it's interesting.
There's no picket lines.
They probably have a different system. I would bet they probably have.
But those writers are all in the Hollywood writers.
That's what I'm saying. Is that they're probably getting the
No, it isn't. They've come out and said our scripts are done. We're finished.
Yeah. Well, let me finish my list because I'm almost done. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is the other one that said that they're all good, and that's another one that's filming.
No, I was
overseas.
hoping they'd be affected.
And then Stranger Things, the final season, they've put the production on hold for that. So some of these shows we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, or hopefully not a lot longer, but definitely wait to get them.
According to our pal Dave was it Mandel? Was that the dude?
Yeah.
He wrote, and he was quoted in the Hollywood Reporter, this is going to be a bloody, drawn-out strike.
Okay.
He's a writer-producer, and from what I'm reading and hearing, I think it could be long.
Well, he's got a C-3PO mask to bid on. He needs to make sure he gets a good contract.
Yes.
All right, Tom,
what do you got?
Tom, what do you got?
So, fourth time's the charm. There's apparently another G.I. Joe movie in pre-production, although probably not so much right now.
Fourth time? I thought there were only two.
No, there was
that
Snake Eyes was the most recent one.
Oh, you know what? I never even saw it. You're right. It didn't come out
either.
But I never saw it.
Apparently, and did we miss this? There was a series in development for Amazon, and that crashed and burned, and so now it's back to Paramount Studios, who is doing a film. Just
okay.
I kind of ask why, but it's yeah.
Because it's IP that has a fan base. That's why. But they've failed to launch 3 times now. So
they really kind of have, and that's where do you just throw it all away and start from scratch, or do I gotta say I kind of like the idea of a TV show where do a limited series and see if you can build something off of that, and then you're not confined to a small group of characters, but We'll see.
just don't know if it has a wide enough appeal. I mean, I know it's got a dedicated fan base, but
freaking cranking
gotta
out
be
Power
done
Rangers
right,
movies.
too,
I mean, it's
but those appeal to
different
kids, though.
Animal, though.
yeah.
I'm not sure that the G.I.
They keep
Joe
making
mythos
Transformers movies.
appeals to
Some are better than others.
That new Transformers trailer looks terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the first 1 or 2 and Bumblebee, they were okay. I mean, Bumblebee I thought was good. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the new trailer last night when I went to see Guardians.
Yeah, I saw it too. It didn't really
good.
Yeah. So now I know we talked about supposedly Margot Robbie's in talks to play Sue Storm.
Oh, interesting.
Whether that's true or not. And I read today that Adam Driver could have signed on for. Did I steal something?
No, it's just there's just like no
Fantastic
real
Four.
confirmation.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I mean, I so desperately want that movie to be good. I loved the Fantastic Four as a kid and have not been impressed by anything that they've done.
I don't see Adam Driver. I don't get that. We talked about that already.
He's too broody.
Doesn't have
Reed
the right
Richards
look.
wasn't that broody. He was goofy more than broody, I think.
I think he's got to play this different than he's done anything previously, and we'll have to see. I don't
know. Is anyone got other more random?
No, not me.
Barry, have you watched? I'll bring it up here. The King of Collectibles series. I watched the whole series.
And I talked to a friend about this over the weekend too, who made it in 5 minutes and shut it off. I watched all of it, although I felt like I was watching a train wreck, and I just couldn't look away because I hated the main character, the guy that who doesn't, by the way, even actually own it anymore. I looked this up. He sold He sold that company to the conglomerate that owns the New York Mets. So he's still like running the company, but he doesn't own the company.
I found it interesting. I found the collectibles themselves. So we're talking about King Collectibles on Netflix. It's this golden collectibles. They do online auctions of stuff all the time.
But mostly like high-end sports memorabilia, but they are branching out into other things. But
it's like it approaches collectibles, which in a direction that I know we don't care about so much. Is it's all about value. How much is it worth? How much? But some of the cards, the sports cards for $1 million. I mean,
it's insane. Like
crazy.
I'll be honest. I never really even knew that there were trading card collectors that were paying $1 million for current these aren't like Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth cards.
No,
these are
they're but what they're doing,
manufactured collectibles where they make one.
They're manufactured collectibles. You're absolutely right. What they're doing is making a one of one card, like this particular one of these ones was they took pieces of some sports guy, some basketball player. Was it Steph Curry or
No, it wasn't Steph Curry. It was God. I knew his name, and now that you've brought it up, I forget it.
some guy, some really important sports guy, basketball player, and three pieces of three different jerseys.
It was LeBron James.
Was it LeBron James? Yeah. Okay, and that's a card. It's one of one, and it was in packs of like whatever, millions of cards.
But these aren't the cards that you buy at like Target, right?
This isn't the cards that come with gum.
$50 a pack, they were saying. So,
but people are buying boxes for hundreds of thousands of dollars, knowing that the potential for the card is worth more. And I guess there's this whole pack box breaking things where they go through. It's a whole manufactured thing. I found that interesting because it's collectibles. The money thing just got sick. I think that card sold for $2 million or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, so much of what they sold, and look, we all know reality TV isn't entirely real. So I don't know how much of that is manufactured for the show and how much of it is real. But I mean, they were showing auctions, but the drama of them having a website that actually shows them incoming bids, I found that a little hard to believe that they would have something that would flash orange. Incoming
it's a
bid.
little
So it felt like it was
probably.
kind of maybe made up for the show. But, I mean, look, if those final auction prices were real, they were selling things for $10 million here, $2 million there, $1 million, like the crazy amounts of money.
Sports stuff is just nuts right now. But anyway, I liked it.
I mean,
It was a little
this
gross.
kid supposedly pulled this very rare autographed one-of-one racing card. It was like a car racing card, and he sold it for
Formula One.
$950,000 in a private sale to a guy. Like crazy amounts of money for trading cards and sports jerseys. And I found it interesting they were using the term "screen matched" for sports jerseys. Like, is it possible?
A lot of all-star
Yeah.
jerseys and stuff. But
They flew him. He flew on a private jet down to Mexico to meet with a collector, who basically talked him into giving him an advance of $15 or $20 million
dollars, yeah,
for being.
But he sold supposedly $40 million worth of freaking basketball jerseys and stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I just found
who's
the owner of that company, or the lead guy in this show, to be so unlikable.
Unlikable, yeah. You know who's not an unlikable douchebag? Fanboy Collectibles.
They're the best.
Not at all. A completely different collectibles thing. We love these guys, though. They're awesome. Check them out, fanboyscollectibles.com. Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy, Hot Toys Groot and Deluxe Groot. If you've seen it, it's a spoiler. Check it out. It's Groot with like 10 arms and a gun in each arm. It looks awesome. I believe Todd may be getting the Gentile Moon. So Toys.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a Moon Knight kind of guy.
Now, what about the statue, Todd? Did you order the statue?
The statue is coming. Yep.
Yeah, I figured.
Statue. Hot Toys. Moon Knight statue. There's several Hot Toys Clone Wars things, including Emperor. There's a cool Darth Vader statue from Obi-Wan with his mask is ripped
that
open.
statue's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. So tons of stuff. Everything you want. Hot Toys and Sideshow and Kotobukias and Pops and all that good stuff.
Dirty
Check
Harry
those.
premium format statue. Pretty cool.
Who?
Dirty Harry.
That is very cool.
Dirty Harry, yes. I think we mentioned that last week. All that stuff is cool. Check those guys out. Fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe sent you. Okay. So we all saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 over the weekend. There will be spoilers. I will ask a question first. Before, it's not my standard to give it a number. How many times did you cry? Todd?
I teared up at least 4 times.
Oh. I full-on cried twice, and I was sad a lot of other
It was
times.
a lot of sad time. A lot of sad time.
I was sad. I didn't actually cry, but
I
I
was crying.
sad.
I was like trying to wipe the tears.
One of the ironies of Dave Pisani is he really loves animals.
I don't like people. I
He
really
doesn't
like
like people.
He likes
but
animals
really
far
loves
more than
animals.
people.
Yes.
I like fake animals too.
So
some of Rocket Raccoon is my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy character.
Right, and just the mistreatment of animals in this movie, I knew would make you very, very upset.
Oh my god. I could have 100 cats if my one cat wasn't such a jerk and didn't like other cats. But
I mean, we knew going in, or I should say we assumed going in, that we were going to get Rocket's backstory. I think we'd been told that, right? James Gunn said
they've
that.
teased this since he took his shirt off in the first film.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's funny, and, at one point, I know we're going to be all over the place with this. We're not going later. At one point, I don't remember who said it, but it's like, Rocket, it's all really your story. And in a way, you think it's Star-Lord's story, but in a way, it was everybody's story at some point. But it was definitely, his backstory.
His was the story left to tell.
Yeah.
And that is...
well, they never told Drax's story, but
Drax's story is.
But they've told
Thanos
you his
killed
story
his daughter.
He's
going to kill Thanos.
Yeah.
And that's Drax's story.
And I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys did this, but Maria and I Friday night watched Guardians 1, Saturday night watched Guardians 2, and then we saw Guardians 3 Sunday. And I know those movies, so it's not like I needed to.
I've been
see
watching
them.
Guardians for the past 3 weeks. Like it's on TV.
I know it's on all the time, but I wanted to see it all the way through. And and I know I texted you guys this, but Disney Plus has the IMAX versions of them, which it is actually pretty amazing. You don't even realize it's happening, but it'll go from a letterboxed image to a full screen, widescreen TV image during the action sequences, and it's pretty spectacular. So I recommend. I think they've done that for all the Marvel movies that have IMAX footage, but it was nice to have that continuity, and I don't do that with all the Marvel movies, but I really wanted to, because I've seen Guardians 1 a dozen times. I've only seen Guardians 2, I think, twice, and not in a while, so I wanted to refresh myself, and I'm kind of glad I did, because, those gold people, I forget what they're called,
Yeah.
like, they play a big role,
They do.
and I'm not sure I would have exactly remembered all of that if I hadn't rewatched Guardians 2.
It's interesting because Guardians 2, I almost was going to say there's movies like Captain Marvel that get better every time you watch it. I feel like Guardians 2 gets worse every time you see it.
Oh, I disagree. I think
but you know what?
Once
you
your
know what I don't like?
once your expectations settle in, that's a very good movie. It's just
the ego stuff is the worst part of that movie.
Exactly.
The rest of it,
you could take out the ego stuff and the Rooker stuff, the gold people stuff.
This is Peter's backstory, and this is.
Yeah, but it's not great. That stuff is not great.
I think it's fine. But like I said, it's just what you got to remember with this movie is this was a placeholder. They could not do anything with any of these characters because the trajectory was already set for them, and so they reined it in and they told this much more tightly contained story. It doesn't. You can't put it up against Guardians and compare the two. It's not fair to. But I said, I like it. I do like it. So.
I don't dislike it. The ego stuff just is a little boring.
Yeah.
I get that. But anyway,
I just threw that out there for anybody who is, if you haven't gone to see 3 yet, rewatch 1 and 2 on Disney Plus because it's a really good experience with the versions they have up there.
2 is very much about relationships, and if you think about it, it's about the entire thing is about relationships in some ways, and you see a lot of that in 3, but not in that same way.
Well, and what's interesting is, as we all know, there's a lot of Guardian stuff that is peppered through other movies now too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But you can just watch these 3 movies, and you get the full. I mean, the only thing you don't really get is the Gomora piece. I guess,
you don't. But this is the pure version of these characters. This is the James Gunn version of these characters, and they're more, they're clearly these characters versus the other versions of them in the other films, which have to be who they are to move the plots forward.
Yeah. It's funny. I saw it at the Alamo, like I always do, and they always do some kind of recap. And what they did was previously in Guardians of the Galaxy, according to Star-Lord. And then then according to Rocket, according to Groot, according to every single one of them. So you got like a little 5-minute snippet from everyone's point of view, which was great to see before going into this movie. But anyway, first I loved it. I mean, I felt like it was super dense. There's like a lot in there. It was certainly sad. You know, I was
sad
in a fragile state afterwards.
It was sad, but I feel like it really helped you understand Rocket. I mean, like,
oh my God,
you see
yes.
the first Guardians movie, and Rocket's just this funny, badass character. You see the second one, and you get a little bit more. But this one, I mean, now you.
But you do get in the first one, you get little glimpses of.
You get that scene in the first one where he, like I said, you see his back, and everyone's kind of like, "Whoa." And
when he's drunk, he goes on to a little tirade about why he exists.
Yeah. And this is, I think this is the end of this arc. They kind of bring it full circle. You met these characters, you came to understand how they related to each other, and now as we're we're moving to the end of their arc, you see that a lot of them have really kind of worked their way through. I mean, again, Drax's reason for being was killing Thanos. Okay, that's done now. You know, Nebula doesn't know what she's angry at anymore. You know, it's just,
they did really bring it around to really resolve these characters, and some will continue, and others may not.
They did, but here's one thing I found interesting in the trailer. The trailer, they literally put the words on screen: "Start your summer with a happy ending." I don't necessarily think this movie had an entirely happy ending.
It said that? I never saw that.
I rewatched the trailer the other night,
but it is a happy ending. I mean, as much as
it's not.
But they rescue everybody, including the animals. They all live, and we speculated that at least one or two of them is going to die.
Well, I know you said spoiler alerts 10 times already, but there were 2 times I thought Drax was going to buy it.
Oh, there were 4 fake deaths in this. Okay, there were 4 totally set up. You're supposed to think you're
Rocket, Drax, Quill. And who else?
Well, I think when Nebula's head was snapped and bent backwards, that was one thing. I think.
But we've seen her bend and contort herself back into shape before.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's like
even Groot though. I mean, Groot's head got blown off.
Okay, Groot was the fourth one.
You know, Groot's not capable.
Fourth one I was counting.
Yeah.
He's not capable of dying.
He's not.
Really.
At this point. So,
but it's funny because. I really, again, we're all over the place, and that's fine. But you went through all this Rocket stuff, and Rocket was on his deathbed the whole time, or half the time, and you're like, okay, he's not going to die. And as we get I would, if Quill had died at the end, I wouldn't have been surprised.
In each Guardians outing, someone has died. Okay, so, Groot died in the first one. Okay. Yondu died in the second one, and then Gomora died in Infinity War. I think he needed to not do that. I think,
and he said there was an article. He said it's like, look, we can wrap people's stories up without
and that's just it. Them. And I think it's
and good for him.
I also feel like 2 of those characters were resurrected in one form or another. Okay, so. I feel like having everybody get out, but everybody get out a little scuffed was fine. Was totally fine.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with it. It isn't entirely a happy ending because it didn't wrap up with either the team going off together because they're all happy or like.
But they went apart and they were all happy.
They didn't.
They found better purposes.
They did, but I was a little surprised that Star-Lord and Gamora didn't end up together.
It would have cheapened her memory. The love of my life is dead, but I'm going to hook up with this chick who's sort of like her, but not really her.
But when you think of everybody's happy ending, Peter went back to his grandfather. Drax now sort of was a father again. Nebula found a purpose. Rocket's the captain he always wanted to be. They all did get their happy endings.
They did.
If they hadn't killed that freaking otter, I would have not been so upset.
Yeah, I mean, it ended with a dance scene, so there was a happy party at the end of it.
Exactly. I know.
Even Drax danced, even though Drax claimed in 2 movies that he didn't dance.
Very reminiscent of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, a little bit.
But not as cheesy.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. There's a lot going on there.
I did comment to somebody else that unlike The Last Jedi, they saved both the animals and the children. So, that was a good thing.
That guy, I really thought, like, is he only saving the... Again, watch the movie, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is he only saving the raccoons and then he's leaving?
No. And that was just great. I love the giant slug things, coming aboard. It's
and those creatures were the same creature that they fought in the beginning of Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like it. I feel like every character evolved. You get to see who they are and where they are, and it felt genuine in every single case.
Well, and it had the good mix of humor and
there's a lot of humor.
Some of it's just flat out dumb humor, some of it's just good humor, and some of it is really serious. And there was like we said, there's a lot of sad stuff in this movie.
And I will say, I think they missed the pitfall that Love and Thunder had with the serious stuff and the humorous stuff were in two different time frames. So you could make that shift. You could make that tonal shift back and forth because it wasn't going from, we're not making Hammer jokes to talking about Jane's cancer. It was, you were seeing this really deep stuff, and then they'd move back to the present and lighten the tone a little bit so you could digest it a little bit.
You think about that if you really look at movies who had, it's amazing how James Gunn's a genius and Taika Waititi really needs to learn from him, because one totally didn't work, and one, you could go from something and then 2 minutes later something funny, and it totally was.
But again, like
seamless.
I said, I think it was shifting. It wasn't shifting scenes; it was shifting time frames. And I think, and
but even in the current time, there was a couple of scenes that were really heavy.
There was no question of that. But it was also, I just think the balance was good. And
it's interesting that you said
of a good director.
Rocket spent half the movie out almost off the board, even though in flashbacks he was there. But the actual Rocket that we know, wisecracking Rocket, was off the board for half the movie.
Right.
I feel like the writing for his character is, I think, the best of all. I'm sorry.
And you got to see him in a way. This character is far more fully formed than he ever was, because you got to see basically where he came from, and you got to see him kind of move from innocence to being the creature that he is now, and you understand why. You understand perfectly why. I thought the high evolutionary guy was a good villain. I felt like, he was reasonable and understandable in being, his obsession.
He's better than the freaking Kang.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm saying he was obsessed, and he was basically your textbook control freak, and Rocket was the element that was out of his control, both in not understanding how he had, created him, but then also slipping from his grasp, and he destroyed himself over that obsession, which is very all Shakespearean.
Kang is meant to be this incredibly, hugely powerful super villain, and we didn't get it. And this guy is not really that.
Yeah,
he was a great villain for this movie, but he's not a threat to the entire universe the way Thanos or Kang was.
But he's a fully formed bad guy.
Well, right, and you understood what he was doing, and you understood his motivations, whether you agree with him or not.
He was super bad.
I mean, you want to have someone be a bad guy, you can give him a beard, you can have him smoking, or you can have him be cruel to animals. And boy, cruel to animals just takes you right to 11.
Well, cruel to animals, but cruel to all of his creations, right? Like, he was fully willing to wipe out all of his creations and start over. He was seeking a perfection that he was never going to achieve.
Well, it's very much like Thanos. I mean, I think in one movie, not that we've seen Kang in a lot, we've sort of seen bits and pieces, but here comes a fully formed bad guy, and Kang is supposed to be the big bad, and we didn't even get that.
Yeah.
That's just writing. James Gunn's writing of characters is like off the charts.
And I'll say, I think
there's a tree who says 3 words, and he's a fully formed character compared to, people can't get that done.
I also think the actor did a phenomenal job with that role. I think you saw the control and then that veneer shatter, and I think, but I also think it was written well and it was pieced out in such and such a way, and you saw how basically he lost control over Rocket. I also like getting the understanding of Rocket better, of how Rocket works, and that, I mean, like, Rocket is not a super genius. Rocket sees connections between things. So, he's not like Bruce Banner or Reed Richards or something like this, but if the components are there, he knows how to put them together. And if he's looking at a system and he knows what the flaw in the system is, and it was just a different kind of intelligence, but it supports every other use they've ever had for Rocket. It's like he's not this insane genius. He's got this ability, and it works. But it also was not what this guy was expecting, and this guy couldn't.
When you're looking for perfection,
yeah,
you're not. That's not what it's about, and that's
exactly
what everybody's.
Yep.
Thanos, that's just so funny when you look at the big bads. Thanos, this guy, Hitler. They're all looking for some unachievable perfection that makes them evil. Kang, I don't know what the guy's looking for, and honestly, that I don't know where they stands, but that actor's got some issues.
They're going to have some problems there.
Whole thing going on there. I also found it interesting that the High Evolutionary actually created that race, and I can't remember their name for the life of me. The gold.
Yeah.
Like, he created them, and they were even saying, like, in some parts of the galaxy, this guy's considered a god, but yet
they could have leaned into that a little more. I mean,
he just couldn't.
We got the explanation.
Yeah, he just couldn't achieve what he was trying to achieve. It was really interesting when they again, spoiler alert, when you realize that he's basically wiping out that entire planet and starting over.
That was the
and then
only
you realize
thing,
he's done this over and over and over again.
It kind of struck me that, like, it was just interesting that there was, like, no thought in the moment of, like, even trying to save that bat family that had helped.
But even his crew mutinied on him at that point. Like, when I think they were like, "Oh, we're not doing this again."
Yeah, and that was very much, Kane mutiny kind of thing, where it was like, all of a sudden, this guy has just lost it, and it was like, I think he did a great job. I think he was believable. I think there was menace there, but there was also just, this is just a bad guy.
Diabolical guy, genius. That's always the ones who.
Yeah.
So did you like the Nathan Fillion cameo role?
He was in it more than I thought he was going to be.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. That was fun.
And I like how that world or whatever was just totally off the wall. It's every place doesn't have to look a little like Earth. I mean, it's just that place was just nutty.
Yeah.
That space station or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when they went to that other Earth, it was. I enjoyed the fact that it looked so like Earth, but then they were, all the way down to like the meth.
Oh, and he just like recreated,
people getting beat up in an alley.
He basically took shortcuts, and as a result of the shortcuts, he recreated all the same problems.
Yep.
So, no, it was, again, I thought that was very well done. It was the funny bits were funny, but it was also, there was a weight on the whole thing.
There was a lot of weight on the whole thing.
I really liked the interplay between the characters. Drax and Mantis, all those scenes together were just fantastic.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
They play so well off each other. I think they just didn't really know what to do with Drax until they had her, and they're perfect. They're a perfect pairing. And
the only complaint that I had, and it's minor, I'm not sure I loved Groot saying something other than "I am Groot."
Did he?
What, you think we heard?
I think, okay, see, this is, just listen to me here.
He said it. I mean, we heard it in English.
Listen to me here.
It was the most Vin Diesel's voice we've ever heard.
Yes, yes.
Just listen for a second. Okay. I think what he was saying was when Gomora got to the point that she understood him, okay, was because she had basically developed sufficient relationship with him that she could understand him, okay? I think that's what he was giving to us. I think he was putting us in the same plane with her because everyone else didn't react to that. If you look at them, it wasn't like he just spoke English and everybody's jaw dropped.
That's interesting, yeah.
I think we got moved into the same circle that she got moved into.
No, that makes me feel better about it. I didn't think of it that way.
I think
I thought it was
because everybody
just
didn't,
because no one reacted. You're right.
Their heads didn't whip around. It was like he said, "I am Groot," and that's what they heard. But we heard the same thing they heard, and I think that was his.
That makes me feel better about it.
That's what I really believe that, and I think that was his way of, like I said, just including us in that circle, yeah. So
okay, I could buy that.
I got to say, I was not a big fan of Chunky Groot from the holiday special.
It grew on me. The head was a little weird.
I think they really underplayed him in the holiday special because he had so many increased capabilities, and I think they were just basically used him as furniture in that, and because they didn't want to give away, all that he could do now, and I'm kind of glad they did. This is a very cool incarnation of Groot.
He had a lot going on,
and very different than the original, and but for very good reasons. His entire life has been with them. This is their, they've raised him from a child, a sapling, as the case may be. But I love Kaiju Groot.
That was great.
I love that when he just opens up all these pockets and start pulling guns out everywhere, and
that was good.
That was just great.
You can own that on Hot Toys.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Come by Collectibles.
Well, and you can definitely tell, excuse me, all the missions they've been on that we don't see because they have become such a well-oiled fighting machine. Him and Star-Lord, that you can tell that wasn't the first time they've done that move.
Exactly.
And I did like in moving into the post-credit scenes for a second. I loved how big Groot was in that first post-credit scene. That was crazy how big he was.
Yep.
So it's Groot, it's Rocket, it's Warlock, it's Sean Gunn, whoever his name is, Kravitz or whatever his name is.
Kraglin.
And then was there someone else? And some little girl?
The little girl
One of the little girls,
glowy eyes, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if we'll see them again.
Yeah. And again, I love going to the actual Guardians uniforms from the comics.
They were much closer to the original uniforms, the blue with the red trim. And there were a couple of shots where Rocket was flying through the air in slow motion with
Rocket
the guns.
Rocket had worn that outfit in a very similar version to that outfit. But we never, in Infinity War, but we never saw the team dressed that way.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. The one thing I was kind of disappointed, and actually when the Star-Lord space jump scene, when did he lose his helmet?
That's what I thought he was going to turn on.
Because Star-Lord in the comics had the helmet, with that outfit.
He always had the thing where he just tapped the back of his neck.
That's what I thought he was going to.
I kind of thought in space that's what he would do. But yeah.
I did like that, he bumped into the space trash and it slowed him down, and it wasn't just a successful I'm going to make this jump and he made it.
Oh yeah, and it was perfect the way that happened too. It was just because that's what
you really thought he could have been off the board there.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I don't know. Maria agreed with me when I said this, so I don't know if you guys thought this either. But when he was starting to freeze and his scruffy beard was getting ice on, he actually looked like Ego. He actually looked like his father.
That's interesting.
In that,
his face
scene.
Bloated a little bit. And,
his face bloated.
That's true. He's not a human, so he could, live more so. He's stronger than a human.
Yeah.
In some ways.
I like that Yondu made the appearance there, even as
the Yondu thing was great. I'll say I loved Cosmo. I thought that they finally
Cosmo was great.
They did a great job.
Oh my god, the whole thing about the bad dog. The worst thing you could say to a dog is you're a bad dog. Oh my god, that was so funny.
And then when she crushes that guy with the two slabs.
With those two.
And he's like, good dog.
I didn't realize why that dog has powers.
She's got telekinesis.
Yeah. So, But that was great.
And that she was Russian. She had a Russian accent.
That who the actress was Borat's daughter from the Borat sequel.
Yes.
And the one that did the scene with Rudy
Maria
Giuliani.
Belova or something like that?
Yeah. And she was perfect. That was great.
I always like Cosmo.
Yeah. So.
And I even liked that Howard the Duck made the cameo.
Yeah, Howard the Duck was there. It's just like, yeah.
I didn't realize that they could fly nowhere around as a ship. I thought
apparently
it was just
so.
It looks like they built things into it.
Yeah. Big cannon in the eye socket.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
What about the second? Well, not even the second post credit. It says Star-Lord will return.
The legendary Star-Lord
Legendary.
will return.
Pam was like, well, maybe someone else is Star-Lord now. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
No, I think he could show up anywhere. And I think that's the whole point. He's on Earth now. So.
But you really thought he'd be. I thought he'd be done. And
he's already come out and said that
he'd
be happy to play that character again. So
they obviously put it out there, which is a little surprising. I didn't think
only after
that.
The movie was released did he say that. So I think that
was sort of, they didn't want you to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I just did not expect to see that because I really thought that this was kind of like.
Well, they teased the shot of Nebula carrying him when he's passed out. So you kind of thought that was. By the way, if online you can find James Gunn tweeted a video of that she wasn't carrying him, and she was carrying a mannequin that is incredibly lifelike, looking like him. It weighs 35 pounds. And
oh, really?
This thing was so realistic. The editor looking in the film said to Gunn, I can't see any of the wires. And she's like, there's no wires. She's actually carrying this. and yeah. So, but there's a very funny short video online with her like spinning around, dancing with it and stuff like that. And
that's funny.
And but I'm telling you, it is creepy how much it looks like him.
I saw that clip. It was good.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you even think of. I mean, I like Chris Pratt. I liked him in the Jurassic, at least the first one or two Jurassic movies. I've liked him in a bunch of things, but he's one of the top grossing actors right now. I mean, you look at just the Super Mario movie. When he made the Lego movie, all the Jurassic movies, he's made billions and billions at the box office.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy.
It is. And he still wants to do it.
And we discovered him in Parks and Rec. I mean, those
and
of us that watch Parks and Rec.
People thought this was a stretch when he first did this. And he's done really well with his character. They've all done really well with the characters.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I would not even be surprised, despite what he said, for Dave Bautista to come back and do this again at some point, if the thing is right.
Yeah, he was definitely looking to be out. But
that makeup had to be difficult.
Yeah.
Where could Star-Lord show up again? I mean, we know all the
here's
movies
the thing,
that have
though.
been.
He's on Earth, okay? So he could show up in any of the series.
He's on Earth in present day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he could
think
show up in
so.
any of those.
We'll see him in a series.
But he I mean, I don't think he will, but he could show up in the Marvels. He could show up in any of the
I bet it won't
movies.
be. It won't be for a couple of years, but
maybe
I'll
the
bet
Avengers
there's something
ones.
that happens, and he pops up, whether it's Armor Wars or whether it's whatever. There'll be something where he just shows up.
Who else do you think we will see?
Oh, I think Mantis will be back.
I don't think you'll see Zoe Saldana again.
Nope.
I could see that.
I
get Rocket's easy. Bradley Cooper. That's just a
I'll
freaking
tell you,
paycheck.
if they don't do a 6 or 8 episode Rocket and Groot series, they are stupid. They can basically get Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel to do the voice work in a day.
For sure.
And you could get Sean Gunn to show up, I'm sure. So, there's a way of piecing a group
I would
of
like
people
to see
together.
that. I mean,
Yeah, and that would be just great. Just their various misadventures and So.
I was a little surprised. I mean, again, I don't remember the comics, but the Warlock was not what this Warlock was.
Yes, he wasn't.
Warlock was kind of a badass.
He was kind of a badass, but Warlock was also born as an adult, okay? And they leaned into this here, where they had him basically be, a child for most of this thing, and he can mature.
But they also made a
into
point of saying that he was taken out before he was ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's also been one of the biggest badasses in the Marvel universe at times. He's got he's got the Soul Stone, and or a Soul Stone, I guess. He can wield great power. So we'll see whether they do something more with him.
Well, we know
he fought Thanos in way back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
He's got a gem in his head, but I would be shocked if they would have if in this current MCU.
Oh, it's
they
not
would make it a Soul Stone. Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying I'm saying the character, comic character,
yeah.
is. So, yeah. Again, but I like I said, they needed to go somewhere with that because they teased it in Guardians 2. I thought it worked. I liked his kind of.
Was he ever in the Guardians of the Galaxy comic books?
Hmm?
Was he? He's a Guardian now. Was he ever in the? Yeah.
No. He's been in the stories, but he was not on the team.
Yeah, I remember thinking he was like the cool. It was like when Starlin was drawing him
exactly.
back in the day.
Yeah. No, I thought they did it. That was good. I thought how they used him and how he came around worked. I thought it's a great movie. I really like the big problem with this movie is we spent so much. We've had such a long time to think about what this movie was going to be.
Yeah,
and I think now where we're at with these movies is we've got to get past our expectations. We've got to go in and just be ready for what's on screen and accept it. Take it for what it is, and then judge it based on what they present, because. This wasn't the story I was expecting. I mean, there were elements, but I'm saying this was very different than what I was expecting.
I didn't go with any expectations, but it's just better. I mean, the last two.
But it was 6 years between.
It was 6 years between. This movie was delayed more than 2 years, and I think he did a great job wrapping it up. I really do.
Yeah.
But what I do, and I know we touched on it. What I find interesting is that it didn't. It performed worse than all the other recent Marvel movies in its opening weekend, and I'm surprised by that. I mean,
I feel like it'll have legs, though.
I think it's going to keep
going. Good season, good time of the year. It's probably getting a lot of good word of mouth. I mean, freaking
Ant-Man had a better opening weekend than this movie.
Really? That's a shock because that movie sucked.
This will ramp up.
I think it'll go. I mean, the fact that Mario Brothers is making $1 billion, I don't even conceive of that.
But again, that has a totally broader appeal. That people are taking throngs of kids to see that. I don't know that.
But kids do they even know Mario from
Of course they do.
Oh yeah.
Do they? I don't get how that's making $1 billion
because when your kids are young and you want to buy them a video game system, but you don't want to buy them an Xbox, and
I guess
you buy them a Switch and you buy them Mario Kart, and that's every kid knows Mario.
Yeah,
I guess so. I just don't like that that's making that much money.
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's actually a
people
really
should be bringing their kids to see John Wick. What are they wasting their time with this?
That's right.
There's better things to be learned in that.
So, who was your favorite other than Rocket? Was it Leah, Teefs, or Floor? Who was your favorite?
Well, Lila.
Lila, yeah.
Oh, jeez, I could just.
It's
I could cry just thinking about it.
Boy, once they mastered making CGI wet animal eyes, we were just dead. And
Lila was so cute. I felt
so brutal.
Brutal.
And this was the second movie the second Marvel movie this year in a calendar year where we've seen this sort of like white post-death sort of scene, and this just felt so. It was like it worked.
What was the other one?
The whole what's that?
What was the other one?
In the Thor thing, where they ended up in that kind of white void thing.
No,
and it just didn't work.
I do, but
that
movie was horrible.
It was horrible, and both his like ready to accept that it was over with, and just looking for forgiveness for not saving her and all this, and her sending, telling him that he had to go back, he had more work to do. And he did. He had to rescue those animals and the children and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It just worked. It worked really well.
It was just
James
like
Gunn
in Pee-wee's Big Adventure when Pee-wee runs into the burning pet store to save all the animals, and he keeps going back in.
Not just like what I would have equated it with, but yeah. But boy, I'll tell you.
I mean, it comes down to these. Like, you got to put the right guys making these movies.
If you can look at a cage full of baby raccoons and not feel anything, you're just dead.
I can't like go out my garbage pail at night and not start to cry.
Well, and let's not forget, they fired this guy.
Yeah.
Right, and they brought him back. Like, at the time they fired him, did any of us ever think he would have come back to make this movie? No.
But that was the thing. He wanted to. I read a thing from the woman that plays Mantis, who said she basically wanted to take her script out in the yard and bury it.
So no one would see how good it was.
When he was fired because they did not want to make this film with anybody else. And I do think a lot of pressure came from these actors. I don't know that all of them would have made this with somebody else.
No.
So.
Well, and thankful that whatever he did was not so bad that he wasn't able to come back from it. I mean, he said a bunch of things when he was young and stupid. He didn't do what some other people have done to get fully canceled.
Oh my God! Yeah. And he just supposedly turned in the script for the Superman movie. That guy doesn't make a bad movie, I got to say, so far.
It will be interesting to see. I'm very encouraged for the universe he's going to create.
He made Peacemaker an amazing character. He can do no wrong right now.
God. If you look at that movie and then that series and how low the expectations were for both those things and how awesome both of those things were, it's pretty amazing.
And those rats, the guy knows how to write for animals.
He knows how to write.
Sebastian, the mouse is giving you the rat. Yep. He's giving you this nice leaf as a gift.
This is true.
And Rocket officially knows that he is a raccoon now.
Yeah, that was great.
We needed that.
Oh, and his hot wife was in there too.
She was
James Gunn's wife.
Who was she?
Sure. She was on the communication woman on the
was that her? I'll be honest, I did not make that connection at all.
I did not either.
And she got shot in the leg and was screaming like a maniac.
Shot in the leg.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really
connect. They spent so much time on her. I was like, who is this person? And at one point, I was like, the first shot of her, I was like, is that Taylor Swift? It was like but I'm saying there was something familiar about her face, and it was like, is this a cameo? And it was like, that's what, but then obviously it wasn't, but it was like, and then they just kept going back to her.
She's in, you guys, she's in something else. Is anyone, I won't say what it is because then I'll spoil it for you. Not that it's a spoiler.
Okay.
I won't say.
I don't care if you do, but.
It doesn't matter. She's in the second Shazam movie. We watched that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And all right, you said it. So give us your 30.
No. It's just a post-credit thing.
No, but give us your 30-second review of the Shazam movie.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad as everybody made it out to be. The first one was better.
Can you watch it for free now? Is it like free on HBO
No,
Max,
we paid for it because I'm like, I looked it up. I'm like, oh, let's watch the Shazam movie. I think it's free. And then it wasn't. And she's like, what are you going to, like, for $18?
Right, just watch it.
I felt a little bad. I felt like it got the shaft a little bit. I don't think it was
bad timing.
It was bad timing and
right at the time where they were making.
It wasn't bad. I mean,
decisions.
is it great? No, but it was fun. It was fine. There's worse. It's better than Thor.
That's
better than Ant-Man.
That's our benchmark now. Is it better or worse than Love and Thunder?
Is that the worst Marvel movie? What used to be? Okay,
I don't think that's worse than
my
Eternals.
list is probably gone.
I don't think that's worse than Eternals.
Eternals is the worst.
I don't even count that.
Okay,
and I'll
I'm just
say
saying,
this again, Todd. And I know
don't
you just,
think Love and Thunder. I think there's redeemable things
I'll say it for you,
in Love
Barry.
and
The
Thunder.
director's cut of
No.
of Eternals
was
has
just gonna
such a
say,
nuanced performance.
I watched the Captain America: First Avenger again over the weekend. That movie's freaking awesome. I know you think
it
it's a
is
joke,
awesome.
Todd. It's a
I
great
agree.
movie. Great movie.
I agree with that.
I think it's a perfectly adequate movie. I think okay.
Way
So let me
better
ask you
than that.
this. Okay. I do. I think those films. I think the first one is okay. The second one is phenomenal, and the third one is extremely of the Cap films is extremely good. Okay. I don't think it's as good as the other two films. I think it's.
But they were building towards that stuff.
We're building
at that
towards
point.
it, but they
I think it's
wasted
better
a
than
lot
you
of
say
time.
it.
I
doing
think
stuff
it's way
that
better
they-
than you give it credit for.
You know, we.
It's not as good as Iron Man 2, but it's still good.
Jesus. No, it's not
right.
bad. It's just they spent a long time getting where they got.
Haley Atwell in that uniform alone is worth the price of admission.
I'm not arguing that, but
And I had forgotten about this tiny little moment where he's just about to jump on the plane to get Red Skull, and Tommy Lee Jones is driving him in that car like super fast
Yep.
to catch him up to the plane, and he's just about to jump, and Haley Atwell, Agent Carter, gives him a kiss, and then he looks at Tommy Lee Jones and he goes, "I'm not going to kiss you." It was a great little moment.
yeah. I like I said, I just would have loved to see more like battle stuff, and you know, I mean,
Hugo Weaving as Red Skull was awesome.
It was-
I'm
it was
sorry,
great.
that movie was great.
It does, like I said, it's good. It's just I don't think it's great. I think it's good. So is that a better 3 films, or is this a better 3 films?
Ooh, that's tough.
That's a tough one. And first of all, Civil War it's just a Cap movie in name only.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, that's an Avengers movie, and there's something about it that I don't love. I think it's good. I don't like it as much as you like it. There's something about it I don't love. Because for me, the order of Cap movies is Winter Soldier, First Avenger, and Civil War.
Oh no, not at all.
Well, that's
disagree.
mine.
Yeah.
And I have to agree 100% with Dave on that one.
And yours is Winter Soldier, Civil War, First Avenger.
Yeah. Yep.
And Iron Man, it's Iron Man 2. Then
I'm very close to even disavowing that movie, but
so Guardians, yeah, there's something, and I guess I'd have to watch it. I'm where Barry is on 2. It's like when I think of it, I don't love it, but it's really just the ego parts.
And that's why I wanted to rewatch it, because I had it in my head that it wasn't great.
Awesome.
But that opening sequence with Mr. Blue Sky, that's one of the best Marvel sequences.
That's great. The whole thing when they're blowing stuff up, the stuff with the I don't know.
yeah, if you manage your expectations, it's. I think it's good. I like I said, I like it. I was not thrilled with it the first time I saw it, and I've liked it better in subsequent viewings.
It's one of the ones that I like that I have seen the least, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
do
not
like
a-
it, but I haven't seen it as many times.
To
as
me,
I've
it's
seen-
not a.
I love the interplay
It's on, I'll
between
watch it.
Mantis and Drax and that. You know, you're hideous.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
There's some movies that you watch no matter where they are, and again, you know, I hate watching stuff on TV, but the first one I'll watch, but the second one I don't know, unless it's at a good spot, it'd be tough.
When he tells Mantis, you are beautiful on the inside.
you know, it's like, but every one of those things, they're just great. And, you know, I love the hokey kind of like, you know, the where he's trying to create a relationship with his father and then just, you know, he's just really, really trying, and then, you know, finds out, you know, what his father actually has done and who he is.
Well, and what his father's doing in some ways is not all that different from what the High Evolutionary was doing.
It's not. And then
It's like what every bad guy is trying to perfect the universe.
right.
That's
And-
not your
and-
job. Leave it alone.
But also the whole kind of the fact that he had a surrogate father, and he just did not recognize it in the right way. I'll tell you, I absolutely love the escape scene with Groot in that movie. Okay, where Yondu and Rocket are trying to get Groot. Yeah. I love that,
and he keeps bringing back all the different things.
That's funny.
He brings back the thumb.
Do you have
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Do you have like a locker full of body parts?
About that part.
No, we don't.
I forgot about the severed thumb.
And then there's some line like a locker full. Nope.
And the whole
box full of those.
Even
and then when he finally gets the arrow back, the Infinity Arrow, that I just love that the slow motion scene going through and just like killing every single one of these guys, and they're just falling off the catwalks, and it's just I loved it.
There's a lot of good stuff.
There really is.
I got to rewatch that. I got to rewatch that.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Do we want to give it a number? I don't remember my other numbers.
I feel like there's too many movies at this point for because we were ranking them at one point. There's just too many.
Go on a scale of 1 to 10. You don't have to give another. You don't have to give a.
I feel like whatever I gave Guardians, which probably is a 9, I'd maybe give this. As of right this second, I want to say just a half a point less, but I got to see it again. I figure it's almost right there with that.
I don't think it lives up to the first Guardians movie for me, but
that's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I would give this
that's a tough.
I'd give this an 7.5 to 8, probably an 8.
7.5.
Jesus,
I liked it a lot.
What do you give Man of Steel?
Oh, Man of Steel's an 11.
Okay.
What do you give the nuanced performance of Emilia
Kira
Clarke
in Solo?
Yeah. I don't know what I gave Guardians at the time. I would probably give Guardians above a 9. I would give it like a 9.5 or something. And I think this is somewhere between a 9 and that, maybe a 9. But
9, I'd say 8.5, 9.
Yeah, I'm a solid 8 9. Now that I'm thinking about it. Solid 8.
If Winter Soldier's a 10,
that's what I'm saying. If Winter Soldier is the 10, I'm fine with giving this a 9. If Guardians is a 9.5.
What's Endgame? Endgame is a 10 also, but just a skinny 10.
Yeah.
I think that Infinity War might be a 10, and I think Endgame is like a 9.
We're going to have to do a show where we put everything on a spreadsheet and we renumber them because we've done it so many times.
We'll do that for our 11-year anniversary.
The problem is, do you go by your first viewing or do you go by... I mean, when you've seen a film 7 or 8 times...
That's why it always changes. You go by where you feel. But you can't go by
your first viewing where we've seen them too many times to...
No, that's what I'm saying. Do we go back and we dig up what we said at the time?
We should rewatch them all. It's only 24 movies.
We're going to need a couple pots of coffee and a weekend at Dave's house with the theater.
Yep.
Can you imagine? What would that be? It'd be like 48 hours. We can do that.
I watched every film before Endgame. I did. I watched every film in order.
We should do it in a weekend. We'll get some meth. Does that make you tired or make you awake? I don't even know what it does.
I think you're talking about Coke.
So,
how about fentanyl? I have no idea what that does, but a lot of people are doing it, supposedly.
Jesus.
How about just Red Bull?
Todd, you know how much I love and adore you, but Dave, can you imagine Todd on 48 hours with no sleep?
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I can't even imagine all of us doing. It would have to be.
We should rent a movie theater or rent a mansion for like a 4-day weekend and watch them all.
Yeah. Watch them chronologically. So, Cap goes first.
Chronologically, when they came out?
No, chronologically, how they occur. So it's Cap.
Oh boy, someone's got
Captain Marvel, and then
screw everything up. If you haven't seen it, you listen to this.
There's no point, really.
But go see it. We all love it. 3 thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely 3 thumbs up.
Yeah,
it's great. It's emotional. If you like animals, it's going to be a little tough, but it's good.
It's not like John Wick where they kill a dog.
Oh yeah, no. I honestly, it's
It's worse than that. It's all or as bad. No offense to Daisy, but you hardly got to know her. Lila, you got to know, and don't even get me started.
Yeah, but I don't even know. I don't know. I mean,
Barry didn't even shed an actual tear.
I didn't.
You're dead inside. you talked about me.
We know
you're
that
dead inside.
about me.
What?
I said we know that about me.
No, I'm the one who. I'm really not dead inside. I just bury my feelings the way you're supposed to. For most things.
And
if I ever let that out, that's why I won't go see a psychiatrist, because if I open up that Pandora's box, it'll just be like
the psychiatrist
really
will come
bad.
out. Psychiatrist will come out and say, "I just need a drink," just like, and then go back in there.
And at work, I lately have adopted the whole Bruce Banner thing of, the only way I cope is by staying angry all the time.
That's right. Yep.
Anyway, okay, so it was good. Go see it. Next week, I think we're going to start our 18-month long 10-year anniversary.
Right.
Our victory lap. That's going to take
Victory
us
lap, yes.
multiple episodes to complete.
So do us a favor and rate us and leave us a review. It doesn't have to be like 10 sentences, a couple sentences.
These guys are great. I'll write it for you. These guys are great. 5 stars.
It's like hanging out with my own friends. That's what everyone says. If your friends are like 2 assholes and this other guy.
But nobody knows who the other guy is in this scenario.
We all know. Anyway. And call us. 413-422-0004. Call us, leave us a message.
Tell us what you thought of Guardians 3. Tell us what you think of the show. Leave us a congratulatory 10th
Instagram,
anniversary message.
Facebook.
All that stuff.
Last week we had Tom Spina. Go listen to that one. That was good. Finally. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.